Good evening, and welcome to Creative Broadcasting, the station of unlimited possibilities. Presents Creating Your Seat at the Table with your host, Ashley Little, as she welcomes her guest to the table.
Welcome to Creating Your Seat at the Table. I am your host, Dr. Ashley Little. A little bit about me. I am the CEO and founder of Ashley Little Enterprises and founder and owner of Talk Radio and TV Network, LLC. Tonight, we have an amazing special VIP guest by the name of Dr. Danielle Jarvis Harmon. A little bit about her. There is no business coach on the plane like Dr. Danielle Harmon. Dr. Danielle is the award-winning CEO of Incredible One Enterprises, LLC, a multi-million-dollar coaching and consulting brand. Best known for transforming the lives of her business coaching clients and live event attendees. Dr. Danielle has one mission: to normalize millions for today's CEO. Fueled by her belief that if you didn't come from millions, millions should come from you. She teaches service-based entrepreneurs how to shift from six-figure years to six-figure months in businesses that serve them financially and spiritually. Each year, 20% of her clients make the move to millions, while the remaining 80% grow their businesses by at least 200% and move closer to their million-dollar company. Dr. Danielle is a 7-time best-selling author, the creator of 5 powerful business systems, and the host of the Leverage Your Incredible Factor podcast, which is now being rebranded to the Move to Millions podcast with Dr. Danielle Harmon. Dr. Danielle has her Bachelor's of Art from the University of Delaware and her Master's of Business Administration from Goldie Beacom College. And in 2001, she was awarded an honorary doctorate for her work in entrepreneurship. Welcome to the table, the amazing Dr. Danielle Harmon.
Hello. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you at the table. So, I know our listeners have heard your amazing bio and all the amazing things that you're doing. Could you tell us more about your journey?
Sure. It's always such a loaded question. So I typically start talking about who I am today this way. So it was not expected that I would be here. My mom actually didn't know she was pregnant, and she ended up getting high. So this was back in 1970s. Every single day that she was pregnant, because she didn't know that I was there. And when she found out that she was pregnant, she did stop immediately. But the doctors warned her that if I experienced life, if I actually made it, I probably wouldn't get to experience life like most people. And so I always love to share that story to start, because when there's a purpose for your life, there's nothing that can stop you from fulfilling that purpose. I have never had anything cognitively wrong with me, and I'm a few weeks from celebrating my 46th birthday. I'm one of 7, the only one to graduate from high school, go on to college, get an advanced degree, all of that good stuff. Professionally, I started in corporate America, where I became a vice president in about 3 years in my career. About 12 years in, I realized that I was no longer born to sit behind someone else's desk, and so I quit my job, my quote-unquote good job, to see if I had what it took to be an entrepreneur. I started my entrepreneurial journey in Mary Kay Cosmetics, so I was trying to figure out what I was supposed to do with my life, and earned 2 pink Cadillacs and grew my unit and became #1 in my home state.
I love it.
So I realized that it was really time for me to, once again, move away from sitting behind someone else's desk and being what someone else wanted me to be, earning what someone else wanted me to earn. And so then I started my company, Incredible One Enterprises. We struggled massively at first. So, we were broke and bankrupt in the early years. I ended up having to go back to work while I figured out how to make this business run. But when I quit that job in 2010, I officially made myself unemployable. And so since 2011, I have been building what is today Incredible One Enterprises. We work with 6-figure service-based entrepreneurs, and we help them to make the move to $1 million CEO with grace and ease instead of us hustle and grind. And so that's a little bit about me, where I've been and how I got here. I didn't wake up like this. My journey, just like most people's journey, is filled with failure turned feedback and a true desire to not give up on my dreams and on the purpose that was placed on the inside of me. I think when you know your why, your what has more impact. And because I'm very clear of who I am and what I'm here to do, I can show up fully and impact the lives of those that I've been called to, and even those that I haven't, because I'm just fully committed to staying in this space and being a source of inspiration for other people. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, I just want to say I'm just humbled to have you at the table, Dr. Donia. I have seen the fruits of your labor. I know a lot of your clients, and they are just, killing it, okay? And so I definitely, when you said on your bio, there's no business coach on the plane like you, I've heard and saw the results, right? And so could you tell us more about, you're known for transforming lives through business coaching. Can you tell us more about that? Because, as I said it before, I know a lot of your clients, and they are just doing some amazing things.
Sure. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that makes us different from other technical business coaches, there's probably three things that makes us different. Number one, we operate under the anointing of the Holy Spirit. Like, you can't beat the anointing, right? Like, I think that's a real incredible factor. And so I leverage the prophetic anointing on my life. And from that place, me and my team, we serve our clients, and we focus on serving the whole CEO. So that's the second thing that makes us different. We're not just focused on their business and them making money. We want them to be better wives, better parents, better citizens, better leaders, better in every possible way. And then the last thing is, most of the business coaches that I have personally come into contact with, they know one part of the process, they perfected one part of the process, and that's the part they teach. We have a holistic approach to business. So I have an MBA, and I've worked in corporate America, I've worked in nonprofits, and I have experience with government contracting. So all of the things that it takes to move a business forward, we understand that as a team. And so we bring extreme business acumen to the table. Most of our clients, they are mission-driven, they are heart-centered. When it comes to what they do, the industry that they are in, they are the cream of the crop. They are the GOAT in their own individual industry. And although they are amazing in their skill set, there has been a big opportunity and disconnect in their understanding of business and business acumen. And so we're able to teach them what it takes to really run a business and think like a CEO instead of like a tactician. Or I'll say it this way. I believe that when you have a business that does six figures, people are hiring you. You are the business. You are the service provider. When you grow your company to seven figures, people are now hiring your company. You are likely not the person that is performing the service. And if you are, you have teams supporting you. So it's not completely on you like it is when you're at the six-figure mark. And so everything in between is really what we help them to uncover and explore for their individual company so that it works. And so because our process is not cookie cutter, we're able to get in different types of clients that we work with and help them to get results in their business to move that needle forward, which is, really powerful. And the results we get, they're unparalleled. Very few people can say that they get the results that we get. And we're not hyperbolizing. Those are the actual results that we get for our clients.
Absolutely. So powerful. And I know I follow you. I've been following you for a while. And I remember you had put something up one day, and, you were talking about people making six figures a year, versus somebody making six figures a month. So can you break that down to our listeners, because I think a lot of people get excited over six figures a year, which if you think about it, is really no money, right? And you were talking about, why not just make six figures a month or more?
Yeah, I think that getting to the six-figure mark in your business is a big deal. And I don't want to diminish the significance of hitting that milestone, because 90% of companies never, small businesses, non-employer entities, as the IRS calls us, or calls people that don't have their own employees, self-employed, 90% of them never cross the six-figure mark. So to get to six figures is a big deal, because only about 10.35% actually do. But anyone who's hit six figures, hits 100, 120, even 180,000, you soon realize that that's not really that much money, because you have so many more expenses that you didn't have when you had your corporate job that paid you $120,000 a year. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. So I think that hitting the six figures a year is the first milestone. The next goal is to get to six figures a quarter. So to do what you used to do in 12 months in 3, and then ultimately to start doing what you used to do in 12 months and then 3 months in 1 month. And it really depends on the business, right? But it's simple. If you, like, for instance, in my own business, I figured out what my run rate was, what I need, how many clients I needed to have based on what my clients pay in order to be able to generate at least $100,000 a month in cash. Once I figured that out years ago, that became the rubric for my company. And so my goal was to start changing the KPIs or key performance indicators that I was looking at until I got used to tracking the metrics that would get me to that $100,000 a month. And it's the same energy to make six figures in a year as it is to make it in the month. It's about really making the decision and holding the belief that you deserve to earn it. I think far too many people don't make six figures a month because they don't believe it's possible for them, because they've been told that they have to work hard for money and it has to take a whole year to get to something that they could technically do in a day if they wanted to. I mean, I've had 6 figure days. So it just really, it's a mindset first, and then it's an understanding of your numbers and what it's going to take to produce the outcome that you want, and then showing up fully, right? Taking consistent action. I say all the time, you know, God will give you more while you're moving than he ever will if you stand still. And so instead of sitting there and trying to figure out how to get something done, just take the first step you know to take towards it. I mean, anyone can grab a calculator and figure out what it takes to make $100,000 in a day, in a month. Anybody can do that, right? So if your make some simple math. If your program is $5,000, as an example, to do $100,000 in a month, you just need to sell 20. That's not even one sale a day to do that. If your program is 10,000, you just need to sell 10, right? That's even less. That's like 2 point something a week to hit 10 sales at $10,000 at the end of the month, right? So it's not rocket science to figure out what it takes to make it happen. Where the magic really comes in, where the strategy comes in, is figuring out the formula that is going to work best for your business, your service, and the clients that you serve. And the goal is ultimately to solve a problem that your clients have been unsuccessful at solving on their own. When you solve that kind of problem, we call it a spice problem, you really do open yourself up to be able to charge more and get it consistently from your clients.
Absolutely. So I hope our listeners that are listening, because I asked you to break that down so that they could hear that, right? And so with that being said, you know, what are some strategies you would give to listeners who are working to become, you know, they're working to become millionaires, right? You know, they're building their businesses, you know, they could, you know, they're making 6 figures a month. Some might be making 7 figures a month, right? So what are some strategies you would give to those listeners, right, that are looking to do it? Because you can make it in 1 month, but you got to be able to keep it, right? So what are some strategies you would give to?
Yeah, and I think it's also important to say that having a $1 million company does not make you a millionaire. They are two totally different things, right? If I produce $1 million a year, but it costs me $800,000 to run my company, then when it's all said and done, I've got about $200,000, right? Now, compounded over 5 years, if that $200 every single year is saved, at the end of 5 years, I'm a millionaire, right? It's about the assets that you bring in. And so personally for us, the first goal is to get a company to $1 million a year in gross revenue. The second goal is to get the CEO to millionaire status, and that's through building assets. So we spend a lot of time talking about and connecting our clients with the service providers and experts that can help them to build what we call their legacy suite. I think about the Bible, which says a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And I feel like entrepreneurship is the tool that was created to be able to make that possible for every single person. And so it's about asset creation. Technically, you could be a millionaire by going out and getting a $5 million life insurance policy. If the cash payout on that policy in the event that you were to pass is $1 million, that makes you a millionaire, and that gives you leaving $1 million to your people, right? And so, like, it's the combined assets that make up millions. And so we want to help our clients not first stabilize their company, so they're making enough to pay themselves well and contribute to their retirement and what they want to leave when they're gone, but then also to be able to hire the team so that frees up their time to be able to enjoy everything that it is that they're creating, and to put them on a path to being able to invest in themselves, invest in their future in various ways to be able to create that portfolio. You know, once you understand the various ways, like real estate as an example. You could get involved in the stock market, insurance. All of these things make it possible to have millions in assets. And so it's two different skill sets, two different goals, but they have the potential to work together. And so thinking about making the money and then keeping the money, yeah, it's definitely a real thing. But I think ultimately in your business, if you're at 6 figures and you want to be at 7 figures, it's not really about keeping the money at that point. It's really about appropriating the money in the right way so that you can build the team so you can make more money. Every member of your team, they should be able to, their contribution to your company should pay their salary, meaning whatever they do should be producing revenue for your company's bottom line, so that it's not an environment where you're just paying out without getting anything back. And if you haven't set your company up where every single position is a revenue generating position, then shame on you. And that could be part of the reason why you're not hitting the milestones and then ultimately not putting yourself closer to becoming a millionaire, if that is truly your desire.
I love it. I love it. And you just say it one more time for our listeners, because you have a multi-million-dollar company don't make you a millionaire, because I think some people get that confused. So
absolutely. They are mutually exclusive. You can have $1 million company and not be a millionaire. I have friends whose companies do $1 million or more every year, and they themselves are not a millionaire. So it happens all the time. It's one of those metrics that people glamorize without realizing that they're two different things. There are also people out there inappropriately calling themselves millionaires because they did $1 million in their business. If your top line revenue is $1 million, you are far from being a millionaire. Now, if your bottom line revenue, once everything, and the bottom line is after all expenses have been paid, you've paid yourself, you paid your team, you've done everything to run your business, if that leftover is $1 million, now that does make you a millionaire. If you are the sole owner of your company, if you own 100%. Now, if you have shareholders or partners that have a profit share in your business, then that $1 million, if it's left over on the bottom line, has to be distributed amongst the partners. So you may not be a millionaire at the end of 1 year. But it's about understanding what it takes, understanding the numbers, knowing it's possible for you, and then doing your due diligence, right? It takes a team, not just the people who work directly for your company, but even your financial management team, your CPA, your tax strategist, your financial advisor, all of them participating in the process to make sure that as you are generating money through your business, that money is being appropriated in a way so that there is a legacy to leave to those who love you that may be left behind when your time here is done.
Powerful. And so I want to go deeper into the business coach side of it, because I know there's a lot of business coaches out here, right? I know you spoke a little bit about that earlier. So what is some, advice you would give to listeners who are looking to hire a business coach? Because you also want to make sure you hire the right business coach, and they should be, 30 steps ahead of you. They should be where you want to be. But I know a lot of people get caught up sometimes in their social media pictures and, different things. So could you talk more about that?
Sure. Well, I would say the first thing is to get really, really clear about the type of coach you need, because there are a lot of people who consider themselves to be business coaches that really aren't. They're a marketing coach or a sales coach or a branding coach. They coach part of the business growth process, but not the entirety of the process. And so that can be a mistake. So the clarity always comes first. Get really, really clear about what you need most as a part of your next level in order to get to the ultimate goals and objectives that you set for yourself and for your company. After you make that decision, I think it's really like a 5-part approach to picking a coach. Number one, the person that you're considering, do you trust them? Do you believe that they are trustworthy, they have integrity, and that if you make an investment in yourself through them, your investment will be stewarded in the way that they show up in the energy that they deliver to you as a client? That's probably number one. Number two, do they share your core values? Like for me, as I stated already, I'm a believer. I believe that I want to be surrounded. I want the people who are covering me and consulting me to be people who believe like I believe. Like if I have to call one of my coaches and be like, listen, I need you to pray, I need to know that they could disrupt heaven on my behalf.
Yeah.
And so being clear about your core values and what's important to you is an important part of the process. Number three, is your coach actively doing what they say they can help you do? Like, I don't think any of us have time for someone who in their heyday used to do something amazing. I need people who are actively doing it. Like my clients right now, I'm growing my business to 8 figures while I'm helping them to grow theirs to 7. I'm actively doing it. Like every day I'm showing up and I'm doing it. Number 4, do they have results? Can you look at their success stories, reach out to their clients, get on the phone with people that they feature on their website and validate that they really did what they say that they do? Because anybody can put some words together and make it sound really, really good. But is it legit, right? Is there real value to that? And then the 5th thing would be, if all of the other things check out, what's at stake if I don't make this decision to work with this coach? Am I going to make it take longer for me to get to where I want to be? Or am I going to open myself up to not being able to understand my blind spot and further delaying my progress? Like, there's an equal stake at not acting as there is to acting, right? And if I don't take this action, what is that going to do to the way that I show up and get to my goals? When I'm able to get a clear read on all of those answers, I don't need to pray. I don't need to ask God to show me a sign. I've done my due diligence, and I know that I'm talking to someone who can help me. But I think that that's probably one of the things that I would, or those are the things that I would recommend. I think that there are a lot of smoke and mirrors in the marketplace. I think there's a lot of hyperbolization, and so you've got to do your due diligence. And I think that if you are clear about the kind of coach you need and that you're willing to do the work, right? Because as coaches, we're not magic pills. Just because you hire doesn't mean you're going to get any specific result. You still have to show up. You still have to do the things that we suggest that you do and follow the framework or the formula that we've created in order to get the result. So if you're unwilling to do the work, don't waste your investment on a coach, because the coach is not a magic pill, and they're not going to be able to make anything happen for you that you're unwilling to make happen for yourself. They partner with you. We partner with our clients to go to the next level, but there's a role that they play as well as there's a role that we play in order to be able to do that.
I love that. And thank you for breaking that down. And so with that being said, Dr. Danielle, you are the creator of 5 powerful business systems. Could you talk to us a little bit more about that? Not just one, you have 5 profitable, powerful businesses. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I personally think in frameworks. I think that's a big part of my gifting and how I'm able to teach and help people to get specific results, because I'm always looking at a way to undo the process and to put it into a way that's simple for people to understand and then take action upon. And so each of the systems that we've created over the years have been designed to help with a part of the business building process. So we've got a speaking system, we call it Speak the Incredible, that teaches entrepreneurs how to leverage the power of speaking to grow their business to and beyond 6 figures, right? We have Leverage and Scale Enrollment Events, which teaches our clients how to leverage live events to make 6 or 7 figures in 3 days, right? We've got the Move to Millions framework, which is our overarching framework. It used to be called the Leverage or Incredible Factor framework, but now we're rebranding everything to Move to Millions. And that's like our high-level framework that we use with all of our clients that has made a big difference. We have a personal branding framework that really teaches on leadership and brand development. And then we have a sales framework. And so each of these frameworks are important parts of the business building process that we've designed to be able to help people to really understand what it's going to take. Because I think, people have dreams of grandeur, of having businesses that generate 7+ figures a year without understanding the systems and the infrastructure that must be in place to support that. Because you could make the mistake and get to, like, you get 50 clients that pay you $20,000 a year, that's $1 million. Like, you could technically get to $1 million in a year. We have clients do it all the time. But if your systems and infrastructure is not set up to support your business at that level, you will break your business. You'll become the bottleneck in your business, and you will stifle your ability to grow beyond that point. And so we try to help our clients to avoid that by getting the right systems and strategies in place, so that as they grow, the growth is continual and it's perpetual. It's building on each other. It's compounding, so that month over month they see a continued result where it is that they truly desire to be.
So for those business owners who are, just getting started, they've probably been doing it for about 2 or 3 years. I know it's probably not a perfect time, but what is the right time for them to start scaling? or is there a right time?
That's a great question. So you don't, if you're just getting started, you're not ready to scale. Scaling is something that you do. I always say it this way. You grow or build to six figures, you scale to 7 or 8 or 9. So your starting point is not about scaling. It's about really the first level. The growth is about getting really, really clear on the who, what, how, why, and why, right? Who do I serve? What do I offer them? How do I serve them? And why am I doing this work, right? What do they get out of it? Like, that's the first part. And once you get clear on what that is and then create your own methodology or framework, you got to go test it out with people, right? The easiest way to test it out is to work with people one-on-one. And so typically we recommend that our clients, we don't work with clients that are just getting started, but we would recommend a new client go and get 5 or 10 private clients, work with them all and perfect their process. Once it's been perfected, then you want to get to the point of offering leverage. Stop working one-to-one and start working one-to-many. But I think some people try to work one-to-many before they're ready and they haven't perfected their process. And that's how we have these people who are enrolling in these higher price coaching programs that have no foundation or framework, because a person just said, I'm going to go get 25 people together at X price point and call it a coaching program. And they're tainting the industry, which makes it really, really hard. So first you need to perfect your process. And you perfect the process by bringing on clients and seeing them through to get the results. Once you know that your process is tight, then you can start to put systems and infrastructure in place that makes you duplicatable. If you want to scale, there's really only 2 ways to scale. You can scale through systems, or you can scale through support. So that means you can scale through people or processes. That's really it. So you're either, as a service-based business owner, you're going to bring on other coaches or consultants or interior designers or attorneys or junior accountants or whatever to be able to expand your capacity so you can serve more clients, right? If you personally can only work with 25 people a year and you're at your max capacity, you're limiting your income. But if you go and bring on 3 associates, and each of those associates could also work with 25 clients a year, now your practice could work with 100 clients. Well, 100 clients that are paying you $10,000 a year, which is really low, but that's $1 million. You get to scale because there's duplication in your process. And trying to scale before you've systematized every single thing and gotten really, really good about how to make success predictable for your clients is a big mistake. So you grow to 6, then you can scale to 7 or 8, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that I see is people are trying to scale when they haven't even barely done 6 figures. And it's also a red flag. I think that there's all these social media memes going around about red flags. It's a red flag for me for someone to be saying, let me help you scale your business to 6 figures. That means they don't know what they're talking about, because you don't scale to 6 figures. So
speak on speak on it tonight. Okay. And so for those people who are at 6 figures, right? So, when should they start scaling? It should be duplicatable first, right? Before they start scaling.
Yeah. So I believe that that you can get to 6 figures by mistake. You can literally be barely doing anything right and have a 6-figure business. So in order to begin the process of moving to 7 figures, there's 4 key areas you have to look at. You need to look at your overall strategy, which is going to include your packaging, your pricing, your promotions, and your positioning. So that's the first part, making sure that your strategy is clear and tight. Second thing you need to look at is your sales infrastructure. Do you have a clear process in place where you can take a lead and turn it into a paying customer in the shortest amount of time possible? If you don't have that process in place, then you're not set up to scale. Third thing you need to look at is your systems. Like, every area of your business needs to be completely systematized. And some of that systemization is going to be through automation, and some of it is going to be through the duplication of having members of your team do specific functions. And then the fourth thing you need to look at is your support. And as I stated earlier, with your team, you want to make sure that every position on your team is revenue generating. Even your executive admin needs to earn her keep. And so when you build your business in this way where everybody knows they're contributing to the bottom line because they're part of a small business, this isn't like working in corporate America where you could literally go work there and only half do your job and end up getting paid every 2 weeks. Yeah, it doesn't work that way in a small business, right? Everybody's got to pull their weight, but it's going to take you as the leader being really, really clear about the role everyone plays in order to set your organization up that way so that your culture is actually serving the goals and objectives of getting you to the next level. But once you have all of these 4 areas lined up and in place, and we take a stair-step approach to how we help our clients to do this, like, because we want you to do it in an infrastructure that's going to support your growth and not actually break your business. Because, like I said, you could technically do $1 million in a year. You have a live event and you have the right number of people and the right offer, you can do $1 million in 3 days. So It's not hard to do the money. It's really a decision. It's stepping into the worthiness that you deserve it. And from that place, really surrendering to any and all outcomes and showing up fully every single day. That's how you make more money, period. All of the strategy and all of those things, those are nice to have, but it's much more mental, which is why I believe that 95% of anyone's success is tied to the 6 inches in between their ears. And until you work on the 6 inches in between your ears, you won't feel 6 or 7 figures in between your fingers. And so it's important to understand mechanically what needs to be working correctly inside of your business. Everything has to be set up to support the scale at a level that produces ease and grace instead of striving and stress. And so that is what often is what takes work for people. Getting people to actually sit in a space of worthiness that they could make that kind of money based on how they were raised, what church they went through, and what they learned that was wrong. All of those things can impact their ability to make ridiculous amounts of money. And so we spend a lot of time with our clients really working on the mindset stuff. Once we can get their mindset right, we can get them into alignment, the money shows up fast. Like, that's the easiest thing in the world to create. When you solve a problem, you can always make money. So I always tell people, you should never, ever say out of your mouth, I can't afford that. You can afford whatever you want. And as an entrepreneur, you can go and create it. Like, I remember when we were building our home in 2018, we went to the design studio and picked out all the high-end finishes. And, you know, they gave us the bill. It was like $25,000 or $30,000 we needed to give them as a deposit on all of our options. So, yeah, we spent a lot of money. And I said to my husband, you know what, let's not take this money out of the savings account. Let's create it. And I put together a quick, no-brainer offer. And in 3 days, I made $50,000. Or maybe it was 7. It was 7 days. 7 days, I made $50,000. The first 3 days, I made the $25,000 that I needed to put down on the deposit for the options. But I ran the special for 7 days, and I made $50,000 in 7 days. You can afford whatever you want, right? So once you take the energy out of the money and you stop focusing on the money and you start focusing on your impact and your purpose and the work that you do and showing up in excellence, you can create momentum that'll get the money to move really, really fast. Now, to sustain that money, you mentioned earlier, you know, keeping the money, the sustaining of that money comes from the systems that you have set up. And so that's a big part of the process if you really want to scale, is to make sure that you get your systems and infrastructure correct and set up in a way that's really going to serve who you are and who you desire to be inside of your business.
I love it. I love it. And I hope our listeners that listen, I know you have really took some wisdom and nuggets, because Dr. Danielle has really gave us the truth, okay? The truth. So I hope you were taking some major notes, because she shared some $1 million answers tonight that you wouldn't have gotten, okay? So I hope you all have taken major notes. So Dr. Danielle, can you tell us, because you've helped so many people, you know, build $1 million and multi-million dollar businesses and, you know, help them get to the next level. So how did you create your seat at the table?
That's a great question. I think the first thing that I did was realize that I deserved to be there. And that I didn't need to wait for an invitation. I could create my own table, right? And so I started very early in my business developing my own platform and not waiting for someone else to, quote unquote, put me on. I've never been one for nepotism. I just really haven't. Like, that whole you is who you know. And like, I just really have never been that girl who was waiting for the people that I know to decide that I was worthy. I decided I was worthy. God decided that I was worthy. And as a result of that, I started showing up like I run things. And when people tell me that when I enter a space, I immediately command it. that's just who I am. That's who I was created to be. That's my understanding of my connection to the Father. And as a result, it doesn't matter where I sit, wherever I sit is the table. And people are clamoring to get a seat wherever I am. And that's just the energy that I live from every single day, without apology, without justification. And as a result of that, I know that people who are in my space are required to up level if they want to be in my space. And so I think that it's really important as who I am to continue to hold to that standard so that people can rise up and be who it is that God created them to be from the very beginning. And it's fun. It's exciting. It's a big joy that I have to hold this space and to be this person who created her own seat, her own table, and other people are trying to get a seat at it while also being able to go sit at someone else's table and still shift the energy for me being the head.
Ooh, I love it. So powerful, Dr. Donielle, so powerful. So what did your lessons teach you? Because I'm just not a big person in saying failure. So what did your lessons teach you on your journey?
Oh, man, girl, we need a whole nother show to talk about the lessons. I would say there's probably 5 undercurrent lessons that I would share about my journey. Number 1, always bet on you.
Yeah.
Number 2, there's always a ram in the bush. I think about the story of Abraham and his son, and he took him up to sacrifice him, and God was just checking to make sure that he was willing to be obedient, and out of nowhere, here comes this ram. So there's always a ram in the bush. It's never happening to me. It's always happening through me and for me. That allowed me to stop being a victim. I mean, I've been through some stuff. My parents, I believe they did the best that they could with what they had, but I'm also clear that their best was not the best. And I've given myself permission to forgive them for what they did so that I can walk into the best version of myself without the scars and the trauma that come from my childhood. And so I think that that's something that's been important too, along with forgiveness has been another important lesson. And then I would say the last one would be never give up. You never know what's going to happen around the next corner. So always find a reason to fight for your why. Because, again, when you know your why, your what, no matter what that what is, it has more impact when you're clear why you're doing what you're doing. And you should never give up because there's always a ram in the bush. There's always going to be an opportunity for you to get to and achieve whatever the next level is that you've been desiring in your life experience.
I love it. And so what did success teach you? Because you're very, very successful.
I think success is subjective, to be honest with you, but success reinforced what I knew to be true about myself. I knew from the time that I was a child, there was something different about me. There was something special about me. There was something about me that shouldn't bow down, dismiss, or discount, or downplay who it is that I am. I take up space. I've always taken up space. And there have always been people who have been intimidated by that. I've always believed, and I remember someone said this to me years ago, that when people call you arrogant or cocky, that is just your confidence bumping up against their insecurity. I don't dim my light ever. My goal is to be like that Marianne Williamson poem, right? When I let my light shine, I can unconsciously give others permission to do the same. Now, some people rise to the challenge and they take that permission and they let their light shine, and others are intimidated by it, but that's not my problem. And so I've never been focused on what anybody else says about me or what anybody else thinks about me. I know who I am. I know who God says that I am, and that is the power and the boldness that I walk in. And because that, it doesn't, there hasn't been anything that stops me from being on task and on purpose of who I am and who I'm supposed to be in any space that I am. I'm an atmosphere shifter. I'm so clear on that. When I come into your space, I'm going to shift it. And it's not because I'm trying to pull the attention to me, but it's just who I am. And so recognizing that and deciding to allow greatness into your space is only going to help to make you greater.
Whew, so powerful. This has been such an amazing interview. So, Dr. Donielle, what can we expect from you? We're in the fourth quarter. What can we expect from you the rest of this year? We're in that fourth quarter, November, December mark, and You're probably already in 2022, probably in 2023.
Yeah, we are already working on 22. But I will say, we've been rebranding this year. So we're closing out our rebrand. We're waiting on our websites. They're in development, and then we'll be sharing those with the world, our rebrand. And then I'm launching a course. I mentioned it a little bit earlier. I'm launching my Leverage and Scale Enrollment Events course in December. So right after the holiday, I'll be launching that course. I'm really, really excited about it. I made my move to millions through live events. And I believe that it kind of speaks to everything about what we've been talking about, and having a seat at the table or creating your own seat at the table instead of waiting for someone else to decide you are worthy for their platform to create your own. And so that's what I did more than 10 years ago. I started hosting live events, and I finally cracked the code on how to do it, where you could generate hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in 3 days. And so I'm finally releasing the course that I created, that I started about 3 years ago, out into the world, so that anybody who has a desire to galvanize and bring people together can do so, while also making a tremendous amount of money, being able to make more inside of 3 days than most people make in a year, and really shift the trajectory of their life because of their business. Like, that is what it's all about for me, and helping other people do that. So that's what we've got going on for the rest of the year. And then at the top of 2022, we will start having conversations about our upcoming live event, Move to Millions, which will be happening in May of 2022. So if you are following me, you want to go and check that out. If you're not, you can go to gettoknowdarnyelle.com, gettoknowdarnyelle.com. That's my link tree. There's lots of links there. You can pick one for all of the freebies and resources we make available, and just get yourself on our list so that you'll be part of the people that are notified when we finally open the doors to our live event that'll be happening in May.
I love it. And please tell our listeners, Dr. Darnyelle, how they can follow you on all social media platforms.
Yeah, I am at Darnyelle Jervey Harmon everywhere except for Twitter, because my name is too long. So on Twitter, I am at Darnyelle Jervey. But everywhere else, you can find me at Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And then and Clubhouse, I'm different on Clubhouse too. Clubhouse, I'm just at Darnyelle, because again, my name is too long to put it on Clubhouse. But you could also go to gettoknowdarnyelle.com, and then there are links to take you to all of my social media to be able to find and follow.
So make sure you all follow and support Dr. Darnyelle. She is definitely somebody to know and connect with. So Dr. Darnyelle, this has been a powerful interview. So I cannot wait to invite you back to the table. And so thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come to the table tonight.
Awesome. You are so very welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would like to give a special thanks to my intern, Sarah, who is a graduate of Tennessee State University. And I would also like to give a special thanks to my other intern, Vontaria, who is a student at Winston-Salem State University. You all may follow me on Facebook at Dr. Ashley Little, and on Instagram at _Ashley A. Little. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Creating Your Seat at the Table, where Ashley speaks with corporate professionals, celebrities, entrepreneurs, authors, and speakers who are transitioning or have transitioned to entrepreneurship.